In this video, we're going to take a look at drag and drop in Qt. What I've done here is I've provided drag and drop capability for the built-in line editor or line-based text editor. And I'll run this program to let you see what it looks like. And it shows us two little text fields. Blow it up. I can type ABC in here. And then if I go in and if I left click, and start to move, as soon as I move my mouse, it picks it up. Changes the cursor to be a thing that shows that it's got something in the clipboard. And then as soon as I drag it out, it goes to the slash through the circle, meaning I can't drop in that location. And then if I move to the other input area, it switches back to a drop thing. And if I release the mouse, it drops it. So that's how it works. Now, one of the things about this example is this capability is already built in. So we don't actually have to add it. You would add it if you were working with a widget that didn't already have this capability. So let's stop that and look at the code that does it. What I did was I extended the Q line edit to be called a droppable line edit, overloaded the constructor. And then one of the things you can do is the actual events, what we call signals and slots, are handled by different methods on the class. And this comes in the parent class. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be overriding their methods to do what we want when there's a drag enter event, a drop event, a mouse press event, and a mouse move event. I also declare one variable up here to keep track of when we've got a drag that's active. And I just have that as a simple Boolean, which we switch on and off. And that tells us whether they clicked inside our area before they started a mouse move. And this is one of the things we need to be able to detect the drag event. So let's take a look at this overloaded or overridden code. And up in the constructor, there's nothing really too interesting. I have to say that it accepts drops, which makes it something that will be considered for a drop site in drag and drop. And I set drag started to be false, which initializes us because nobody's clicked in us yet. Now I'm going to move down to where we handle picking up the event. So it all starts with a mouse press. And if we've got a mouse press and you clicked the left mouse button, then I say drag started is true. And I do that simply to let you know that, hey, somebody clicked inside us. This means they might be going to start a drag. Okay. Now there's other things we could do to make this more foolproof, but this is a good place to start. Now down here in the mouse move event, first I check to see if the left mouse button is down and if drag is started. If neither one of those is true, I return and I'm out of there. If I continue on, I know that I've got a drag started and the left mouse button is down. I create one of these drag objects, and then I create mime data. And the mime data is where I'm going to put the information that goes into the drag object. The mime data is associated with a mime type, and that's how they determine what type is in this drag event, what kind of information is being carried. So they've decided to use mime information here, and we simply set it to be text plain, which is one of the standard mime types. If you're unfamiliar with mime types, you can Google it and you'll see all the different types that are available. Then what I do to get the information to put in there, I use my own text function, which is going to get the text off the widget, but it comes back as a Q string. And in order to convert a Q string to what they want, which is an array of bytes, I do 2 Latin 1, and that returns it as an array of bytes. Now, they're setting their data as an array of bytes because they have to be able to take data of just about any different type. So they just generalize it and say we're taking an array of bytes. I set the mime data on the drag object, And then on the drag object, I say it execute it with the copy or move action. And that basically attaches it. We've now got an active drag object and people can move it around. I set drag started at this point to be false. And that simply resets us. So if they start another drag event later, we'll be all reset and ready for it. You notice that there's a couple lines commented out. And what I'm doing here is I am calling the same method on my parent class. The reason I want to do that is because there's often things done in the parent method that I don't want to lose. Otherwise, I'm going to lose functionality. In this example, I'm losing two pieces of functionality. One, they've already implemented drag and drop in the Q line edit. So I would be getting double drag and drop, which means all my letters would be doubled, which is what happened when I had that active. The other thing I lose is the ability to highlight text with the mouse, and that is done in the parent class. Normally, when you override a class in a subclass like this, you invoke the parent class to make sure that you are not losing functionality. Here, I commented out because I was getting duplicate functionality that I didn't want for this demonstration. But normally, I would use this line to invoke the parent class to make sure that I didn't lose any functionality. And you can see I did it up here and I didn't have it in there, but I probably should. Okay, so that's how I pick up the information and put it into the clipboard. And this actually goes on to the Windows clipboard. So it can be actually transferred to another Windows application right outside of Qt. Now let's take a look at how I handle receiving a drag event. So up here on a drag enter, what I do is I say check to see that the format in the MIME data on the event is text plain. If it is, indicate that I'm ready to accept it. And that says, hey, these people can actually accept this type, this is good. Then they may attempt a drop, which means they actually release the mouse button within us. And at that point, I set my text to be the text from the MIME data inside the event. And then I say event accept proposed action again. And that says that I've accepted the event. And normally I would then call my parent class, but in this case I don't. And that's about it. That is how easy it is to implement drag and drop. Now you may be doing drag and drop on a list or something like that, but what you can do is you can get the text off the item in the list, transfer it to another list, and drop that text there and add it as a new item in the list. And it makes it quite easy to do drag and drop within an interface.